CMOs. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm simply here to share our process to help you address the key challenges that you're facing today. The number one challenge that CMOs are telling us is that they are not getting enough sales qualified leads. So you might be driving more traffic via LinkedIn ads, putting more budget towards that, maybe changing the creatives again, maybe adjusting to check the tracking is working, fixing the conversion forms, adjusting the conversion forms. You may be broadening your target audience to try and get more in the funnel, hoping that something may come through and convert. You may be adjusting the functionality of the product, the solution that you're actually selling, speaking with the product team and trying to get more benefits and more features added onto things so you've got more to sell. You may be adjusting and constantly rewriting the web content that you're producing, the landing pages, the home page, the Why Us page, look at all your messaging. You may be trying all of these things and even blaming sales because they're not following up on the leads that you're providing them. However, none of this is working. Am I right? You're possibly getting a few leads a month, but by the time you strip out all the qualified, unqualified ones, you're left with very few quality leads at all. And the sales team are then complaining because they don't have anything to follow up on. You know that you need to be getting X number of quality leads through the funnel in order to lead to Y number of sales. So you know where you're trying to get to. You're trying lots of different things and nothing is sticking. We have worked with many CMOs, CEOs, CROs, sales teams who are within the B2B software space, and they have been facing the exact same challenges that you have right now. We were that agency back in the day who was, running Google ads, running LinkedIn ads, and driving a lot of results, really, getting sales coming through, getting inquiries, getting leads. And it was all quite easy. It was simple. Things were more straightforward. People would go to Google, do a search, do their research, and then fill in a form, download something, give their email address. But now it's a bit more complicated than that. We've also been through the pains of building a website, and anyone watching this now will know normally it's pretty painful. There are things that go wrong. There's miscommunication with web developers, with the designers, with the functionality, things that are just completely forgotten or not planned in from the beginning. And by the time you get to the end of the website actually going live, you're nearly sick of the sight of it and not particularly happy with it anyway. And we've been there. We've been through those pains. We've worked with developers and with designers and with clients to try and streamline that process. I have personally worked with maybe 50 plus web development companies to deliver projects, to work with them, to communicate messaging from clients to those and from those to the clients. And yes, it is painful. So knowing the pain and knowing the frustrations and knowing the pitfalls that are to come, we've evolved with the market and we've adapted. And what we do as a business is we help marketing teams, CMOs, CEOs to pivot the marketing strategies in order to reach their growth goals. There's a concept that we call the circle of fear. And this is down to doing the same things again. There's stop-start marketing where you try something, it doesn't work within the first 5 minutes, so you try something else, or you may run it for a month and it doesn't show you bear any fruit. So you turn it off and you invest in something else, and you don't have all the budget to do all channels, so you're testing them out bit by bit, and it's very stop-start. Every time it doesn't work, or it seemingly doesn't work, it becomes very frustrating. It's a worry because you're not hitting the targets, and also it knocks your confidence, right? Don't do it. Stop. Just stop doing the monotonous stop-start effect. Stop starting is what I'm trying to say. Don't keep throwing good budget after bad budget. The channels and the ads, they're not actually the problem. It's deeper than that. Simpler, but deeper. The reason you're not getting traction is because you haven't yet defined a clear strategy. You're just taking platforms and potential target markets and throwing stuff at it. You need to take a step back, right back to the beginning. And that's what I'm going to go through with you. So I'm going to run through a little version of that now and show you some of the key things to look out for. So this is the program of works, as we call it. And this is kind of the summary of all the different pieces that you need of the puzzle. So breaking down from preparation work, the start actions that you require, the brand development if needed, value proposition, defining your offer, all the way through to marketing, audit and planning, and then sales enhancement and recommendation and review, so check-ins and review. So these modules are allocated over the year, depending on what kind of monthly plan you're looking at. And you can only do this having known all the information that comes out through the process of kind of dissecting and understanding where the barriers are and where the challenges are that are preventing you from getting to where you need to be. So on this particular document, we then break down multiple tabs, and this will be very different for different clients and different needs. Task list. So many of our clients have built-in kind of task management tools. Many also don't. So this is a good way of just keeping track of who's responsible for which tasks and which allocations. Equally, roles and responsibilities. So who is actually responsible for certain tasks and what color they'll be maybe allocated to each tab within the document. Market goals. So setting out exactly what your goals are, overall goals, 6-month goals, first year, year 2, and then the check-ins as to where you're at over each month, where you want to be. What does that look like in regards to number of logos or number of target clients, average recurring revenue, what that may look like, what is the total revenue over that period, and what are the less tangible goals? So do you want to be achieving sort of market growth? Do you want brand awareness? If so, how are you going to monitor that? What might that look like? And then how many MQLs you might actually need in order to get to that particular goal. And then in the table below, how you're going to get there and the date that you've actually checked that particular data as well. We then start to trudge through to the benchmarking. So keeping tabs on how much you're spending each month, how many web users you're getting, email reach, LinkedIn reach, social posts, how many conversions you've got. And again, these will all be different depending on what you need as a business, what you're tracking, what you're promoting. And this is just to get started, like where are you at now, so that as we start to evolve this process, we can see the level of improvement. Last deals closed. Now, this is really important. If you look at the last 3 to 5 deals that you've closed as a business, that you've actually won, often it opens your eyes to certain things that you've not seen before. So just by putting in the company name, URL, fine. What state they're in or what country they're in is quite useful information, because sometimes we assume where our leads are coming from. Specific requirement needs. So what is it that that business actually needed from you when they inquired? What previously they have been using to address the problem that they're trying to solve? who the key decision maker was, so who actually signed on the bottom, on the dotted line, how many people within the business were involved in the deal. And this all starts to help you map out who exactly you're going to be targeting, who you need to get messaging for, how they found you or how you found them. And that's sometimes more complicated to answer than you might think. The pain points that business actually had. So what is it that led them to either getting in touch or looking at your solution? How long is the deal? What is the value of the deal? And what is it that actually made them choose you over any other competitors in the end? And that's normally quite an interesting one, because we don't tend to always ask that particular question. How are you now engaging with that particular client? Because once you've won a client, that's like a lot of the hard work, but you want to make sure you're keeping it, making it as long-term as you can based on whatever model it is that you're working on. Have you grown the account, and what other companies are competing with that particular customer? So there's a lot of things to answer there, and some of those you may not necessarily know from your CRM system or even from the sales teams that close those particular deals. There may be questions that need to be asked directly to the clients, and in some cases we go in and we do interviews with clients to extract as much feedback and information as possible in order for us to use that in the marketing tactics. All these things you can do yourself. We don't have a magic wand. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes planning. And that's really what we're here to help you with if you need it. Many businesses that we speak to may take it in-house. They may run it themselves and see the value from that. Others maybe need a helping hand. And that may be from the skill sets that we have, the experience where we've done this with many other businesses before. We can apply things quicker, more streamlined. But nothing is stopping you going away, taking these ideas and applying them yourself. And who is this right for? What is this model right for? Well, people who feel that they're stuck in a rut, and no matter what they try, they're not really getting anywhere. It's just not working. Also, people that have tried to address things, but they're unable to see the barriers. Sometimes when you're too close to things, you can't actually see the barriers right in front of you, the things that are preventing you from getting to where you need to be. So we're a fresh pair of eyes. We're looking at it from a different angle, and we're then able to identify those things much more easily. It's easy to look at someone's business and point the finger than it is look at your own challenges and point the finger at yourself. We're also right for businesses who need clarification and additional expertise. If you're not sure how to implement these things, if a lot of the things that we're talking about today are brand new to you and you're like, oh, I don't know where to start with that, that's where we come in. We're just that extra bit of knowledge and help to support you to go through this process and make a change. Some businesses we work with just need a short-term guidance to get them back on track, like an audit, a refresh, a reset, to then let them go on their merry way. Others, it's kind of the opposite of that. They need to be kept on track. They like check-ins. They like regular monthly meetings where we sit down, we regroup, and we assess where we were, where we've got to. We benchmark things. We analyze what's having improvement, what performances we've seen by making certain changes. So it depends where you're at as to whether you require one of those services or none of them. But I think the key thing to bear in mind is it's about repetition and structure. It's about making sure you're doing the things that you set out to do. This world is so busy that you can get easily distracted and drop the ball along the way. And so there's a level of accountability with the clients that work with us, is they know that there's an expectation. We have weekly calls, we have monthly reviews. So there are set timings that things need to be done by. And sometimes more than anything, That in itself adds a huge amount of value. But we're not right for everyone. So businesses that are not really ready to change or not able to change, businesses who don't really want to take on outside advice and embrace knowledge from external parties. There's also many businesses who don't actually place much value on marketing, and that could be for a number of different reasons. It could just be that you've got enough business that's running at the moment by word of mouth or referrals that you don't need to, or don't feel that there is any point in investing in marketing because you're where you need to be right now, i.e. you don't feel like there's a problem. And that's fine. Excellent. Good for you. There's also those who think that they're already where they need to be. And actually, that's not always the case. But if you think you're already where you need to be and you don't see that there's a problem, again, we're not going to be right for you, because you're in a zone where you're happy where you are. There's nothing making you uncomfortable enough to make that change. And if you're not willing to make the changes or listen to advice or do the work, then our program isn't going to work for you. I think finally, businesses who already think that their brand and their messaging is clearly defined, whether it is or it isn't, is not the right type of business or fit for us. We're here to help those that want and need the help. And that's not everyone. That's just some people who have got to a certain point in their business where they need that growth. They're struggling to make the change. They've tried lots of different things, but they're stuck. And that's where this process works really well and has been very successful. So if you feel like you don't need any help, go away, take the tools that we have given you, and I really wish you the best of luck, and stick at it, because it will be successful for you. If you stick to the process, it will definitely improve and drive you towards those goals that you're aiming for. So the takeaways for this process and this program: it helps you identify the barriers, find opportunities, and create a framework for you to pivot your marketing strategy and win more qualified leads. If you're serious and want to discuss things further, and as I said, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you have more questions or you want to have a conversation about any of the things that have been presented today, then let's have a 15-minute call and talk about new approaches to marketing.